Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. And may we use our directives for the common good, and for thy honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Okay, we have before us the meeting minutes for September 16, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve same, waiving reading thereof?
So move. Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you. Okay, this brings us to our first public comment portion. Anyone wishing to address the board, please come to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and whoever wants to be the first under the new rules. So there you go. There'll be that 5-minute time limit there just to see how that goes. So do we have anyone in the audience wishing to address the board? Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to address the board? Good morning, Brian. Come on up. No, you're fine. Racing to the thing doesn't count. It's when you start. But that was a very spry step, so that's a great
Keep
start.
me posted, would you, Mike? Let me know when I'm 30 seconds ago. Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive. Two issues I just want to make the commissioners aware. First one regarding Lakeland Community College. We have discovered that there was a court case that was settled between Mr. Steve Olick and Lakeland Community College in the Ohio Northern District Court. I've got the court case and everything. I have sent a records request to Lakeland asking them for any and all documentation so that I can find out what was really settled in the case. Since you do assign or you do appoint 3 members to the board, I just wanted you to be aware of that, and I will report in and we'll write about it when we get the records request from Mr. Fisher.
This question won't count against your time, but who is this Mr. Steve? What was the last name?
Mr. Steve Olick was a former employee of Lakeland, and the court case deals with the nature of the suit is 45 civil rights American with disability employment. So it's an employment lawsuit against a former employee, Mr. Steve Olick.
And what's the spelling on it?
Olick, I think, is O-L-U-I-C. The case, the cause is 290794, job discrimination, handicap. And the case is 120CV0016 between Mr. Steve Olick and Lakeland Community College. I don't have any other details at this time to share with the commissioners, but I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you, sir.
The other thing is education is a very important issue with Lobbyists for Citizens. We've been made aware of House Bill 298, sponsored by Adam Byrd, District 66. He's a Republican out of Cincinnati, and Joseph Miller, a Democrat out of the Oberlin, Amherst, Lorraine area. And as I understand it, the State Board of Education is made up of 19 people. 11 of them are elected by the citizens, 8 are appointed by the governor, and this House bill is meant to strip the entire 8 members that are appointed by the governor. It's got a long way to go, but I just wanted to make the commissioners aware of that, and I will be trying to communicate with Mr. Callender and Mr. Troy to see what their position is on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Sir, come on up. Welcome.
President Hamercheck and Commissioner Plechnick and Commissioner Young, I thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you about dire concerns of the people of Lake County.
Your name and address for the record? Sir, your name and address for the record, just for the...
The concern is the program of e-check and the abolishment of it, to get rid of it finally after 25 years. It's an unfair program. First of all, I have a question. Do you know what the vote was in Congress that created EPA in 1970?
Well, I was a whopping 5 years old, so...
Pardon, sir?
I was a whopping 5 years old, so...
Well, there was no vote. It was an executive order by President Nixon to start EPA, which was an unconstitutional act. Okay, and as a result, now down through the years, we've gotten EPA mandates that are basically unconstitutional because they're under an unconstitutional platform. The e-check program, the designers of e-check have transformed over the past 25 years the test that the cars have. The test now is you plug the car into the vehicle and it tests computer components. It doesn't test, they don't test the tailpipe emissions, which was the start of the program, to test the emissions coming out of the cars. And they've gotten away from that. They check failed or glitched computer components, which actually, when a component has a glitch or doesn't react, it doesn't stop the car. It doesn't make the car undrivable. Check engine light comes on, it warns the customer or the owner that there's a problem, to get it taken care of. Interestingly, as it is, tests have shown that suicide victims putting themselves in harm's way by suicide from carbon monoxide have actually succumbed to the lack of oxygen and nitrogen because the engine used up all the air in the closed space and they died of no air. The carbon monoxide poisoning. So these cars aren't putting out any carbon monoxide anymore, hardly anything. E-check is unfair and unconstitutional for the fact that only 7 of the 88 counties in the state of Ohio have e-check, and all these states have heavily traveled roads and highways, interstates, etc. 90, Route 2, 271, 71, all the east-west routes through these counties, and they're all up north here. Plus 2 major and multiple smaller airports in them also. Anybody can travel through these counties, which Lake is the smallest, and it's also the smallest in the state of Ohio, an area. And these cars, owners, are not held responsible for the emissions they leave behind, and we end up holding the bag, and that's totally unfair. 4.5 years ago, Commissioner Young and I, when he was a representative for the state of Ohio, we sat down and with his political know-how and knowledge of how to write things, he penned Resolution 85, and we presented it we went to Columbus on March 28th of 2017 and presented our plea to the Federalism and Interstate Committees, and they voted 82 to 25 to get rid of the program. And at the time, I also talked to a commissioner in Clark County and had a good conversation with him about how Clark County got rid of e-check. And he told me all they did was vote in the commissioner's office to get rid of it, and it was a done deal. And why can't we do it here? The unfair law is a hardship on people that can't afford the high-dollar computer components in these cars. And I've been a mechanic in Lake County for over 50 years, and I deal with this every day, every single day, and it's a nightmare. People come to me and say, how can we get around it, or can we hack something out, or whatever, and it's not that easy. And people end up junking a perfectly good car and going into debt to buy something that'll pass a test, okay? And and it also it opens up the door for e-check scammers, sorry to say. There's a lot of scammers out there in my business, and I'm sorry to say that, but they prey on these people. And the in effect, all the counties in the state of Ohio that volunteered for the e-check to begin with, and not to violate your oath of office, by all means, you can end this thing. You guys can end this, or pressure the powers above you to do so. E-check is discriminatory, not only in Lake, but the 6 other counties, as I mentioned. It's been an ineffective program, as air quality only has reached a 15% better air quality since 1996, and that's been 25 years. And that was in the News Herald. That was written in the News Herald. And that's not because of e-check. The car makers themselves have made the cars cleaner and more efficient over the past 46 years because of federal government mandates, and to reach stricter tailpipe emissions each new model year. And I thank you for your time, and if anybody has any questions regarding anything technical, I'll be happy to answer them. And I thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and thank the Board of Commissioners, and thank the people.
While you're at the podium, though, if you could give your name and address for the record, our clerk.
I'm sorry.
Hold my feet to the fire on that one.
My full name, I go by Augie, A-U-G-I-E, but my full name is August, like the month, A. Landsman, L-A-N-D-S-M-A-N-N. I reside in Painesville Township, and I own Augie's Avenue Automotive on Madison Avenue. Thank you very much. God bless y'all.
Thank you. And just to give you a little bit of background, though, this was something that was looked into very early on when I became commissioner. I have not been made aware, and maybe legal can give us a little more on this. I am not aware of any statutory authority that would allow this Board of County Commissioners to say e-check is out of Lake County. I am not aware of any such statutory authority, and we cannot act on our own in a symbolic way and have any effective law. Did I word that reasonably, sir? Looking to legal.
That is correct, Commissioner.
And regarding putting pressure on our colleagues above us down in Columbus, we talk to them routinely, and we've got 2 House reps and 2 senators, and they seem pretty much in agreement with what you're saying is, wow, how does Lake County get straddled with this? A little bit of history. Lake and Geauga County and the 5-county region that is part of NOACA, the Northeast Area Wide Coordinating Agency, the MPO. Lake and Ashtabula counties allegedly have the worst air quality of, including Lake Geauga, Cuyahoga, the city of Cleveland, Lorena, Medina counties. And I think we know with prevailing winds what that really means. But the monitoring stations for Lake County were outside of the Painesville Municipal Power Plant, and the monitoring station was outside the East Lake fossil fuel generating plant. So when those 2 plants essentially went offline, I say essentially because Painesville does power theirs up for peak purposes, that's when the air quality started to go up. So it all depends on, you want to talk about a tailpipe emission test? Well, when you've got your sensors outside of a fossil fuel generating plant, so.
If I may.
Yes, with my colleagues.
If I may interject one more item, it's not,
yes.
Take 2 seconds.
No, you're fine, sir.
All the air quality from the west.
Yeah.
Chicago, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Detroit, wafts across the lake and hits us too. And we have to put up with all that too, and that's totally, I mean, that's science right there. That's just normal stuff. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's fine. And growing up, I believe that's what they used to call and still do acid rain. That's where that's coming from. So just, again, keeping everything in context. Okay, thank you for your thoughts, sir. Much appreciated. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Okay, moving on with our regular agenda.
Mr. President?
Oh, sir.
If I may, I would just add that we do still concertedly lobby our friends in Columbus about the e-check program. It is unfair that poor air quality from Cuyahoga gets blown over to Lake County, and there's no question, that is the science. The wind patterns do push the air from the west to the east, and so we're the beneficiaries of that, and no matter how efficient our cars are, when the Cleveland smog comes down our way, we do end up having lower air quality. That's a problem in and of itself, but we're hampered as one of the 7 counties with e-check in no small part as a result of that. But we've continued to push. There was a resolution which was non-binding. It was merely a statement of what the House of Representatives want to see happen, which was co-sponsored by State Rep Gail Pavliga from Portage and State Rep Diane Grandel from Geauga, with support from our State Rep Jamie Callender, to ask the federal government to remove the e-check requirements for all of Ohio, including Lake County. And my understanding is that it requires the EPA and Ohio making an agreement to actually change the e-check requirements, which is why the state wasn't able to unilaterally say no any more than Lake County could unilaterally say no. But we're trying to make our position more and more known that Lake County and Ohio, in fact, is against e-check requirements. They have not materially improved air quality. They're an enormous expense to drivers, and they place burdens disproportionately. People in Lake County are being punished because Cleveland generates a lot of smog. And that's not a critique of Cleveland. It's just ironic that the source of the pollution isn't the one being regulated. It's the suburb that has it blown their way. So there's a lot of issues with e-check. It's an old, outdated policy that was ill-conceived in the first part. I certainly support its repeal, but I agree with our president that the county commissioners by themselves don't have the legal authority to do it. But we are working with our state reps and state senators, and I'm very proud of the work that Gail Pavliga in particular has done. She's been a real champion on this issue with our state rep support. So hopefully we can continue to work with State Rep Pavliga and push the federal government to finally let this one go, because it's not helping the environment. It's just an added expense to our taxpayers.
Just one other item I'd like to mention, and Augie, you covered it quite well, and my fellow commissioners covered it well as well, but it does disproportionately impact the poor. People with less economic resources are impacted at a much higher level. You know, cars 3 years old and newer are exempt. If someone takes their car in and has it examined and there's a problem, it's usually an older car. And many times folks that have financial problems simply can't afford to fix it, and as you said, they just have to discard a car that's running fine. And the problem isn't necessarily with the engine, it's with their computer system in the car's engine that's telling the machine that there's a glitch of some sort, but they're not even looking at the emissions, which may be just fine. The problem is in the car's computer system, which again doesn't directly impact the operation of the car itself. So the poor are disproportionately impacted, and it's a program that's definitely has to go. So I have faith in the Ohio legislature. I think they're gonna do some things to make it go away entirely, which is, I think, the answer we're to right now. We've eliminated the cost for people getting the tests done, and we've cut it back to cars that are 3 years and older. So I think we've done quite a bit in the legislature. I was part of those efforts, but it has to go entirely. So appreciate your being here and reminding us that this monstrosity still exists. Thank you. Good job.
Very good. Okay, I believe there's no one else, so Madam Clerk, if you would.
In the engineer's office, resolution awarding a bid contract to the Aero Mark Company LLC for Lake County Roads pavement markings 2021 as required by the Lake County engineer in the amount of $146,562.85, LCE project number 2021-005.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing change order number 3 for the LAK Madison Avenue, County Road 306, resurfacing project with Carvo Companies Incorporated in the amount of $1,019,019.34, PID number 112490, federal aid number FAN E200 649, OPWC number DGX05, LCE project number 2019-022.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Engineer Gills?
Yeah, this is the result of our wall over here on Madison Avenue. You might remember we were able to construct the first half of it the way it was designed, but before the contractor got started and after we bid and after we were under contract, they went out and found the western portion, half of that wall had moved substantially, and we couldn't build it in the same manner. So our engineer redesigned that particular portion. Then we negotiated an amount with the contractor, which is the amount shown in the resolution. And however, we decided that the best way to go was to do it on time material. This amount has now been reviewed by the feds and ODOT and approved. So it is an estimated amount for change order number 3. The actual amount when we get done will be based on time and material, and we will go through a period of negotiation and argument as to what is and is not eligible in this particular project. Now, we also then earlier had deducted some monies from the original contract for the stuff that wasn't built. There's about $300,000 between the feds and the public works money that was, as a result, released and will be put towards this particular time material number. So our portion of it is not as big as it might look. So, but what this does is allows us to at least pay the monthly request for work in progress, and which you will probably be seeing at your next meeting.
And this project, are we still on track to get this thing wrapped up in the next few months?
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, it looks like the Great Lakes may be out of there the first week of October. And Carvo is scheduled to come in, I think, on October 17th and start that little section of pave. So it's looking like by the end of October, that road will be open.
And just a little bit by way of background, there was water, unknown source, had to be addressed.
Right.
There was a much greater area that was being impacted than was visible or apparent.
Yes.
All that has been addressed.
Yes.
And road's in good shape. The homes are safe. Once this thing gets opened back up again, it's good for another 30, 40, hopefully 50 years.
Well, this should last at least 40, possibly 50, depending on conditions. However, this is a very long wall. This is only a small portion of it, and we are working with the Corps to, they have a program where they will come in and check the wall out, and we can possibly get into a program then to get some assistance from the Corps on the balance of the wall. So that's our next step in this wall.
And that's part of the long-range planning that you do.
That's a long-range plan, yeah. We already have that underway.
And it's fair to say this project is an example of why it's so essential to have quality staff members with engineering degrees and all the accreditations to be able to do this work in-house so that you can move things along in a cost-effective way.
That's
How's that for a
correct.
commercial for the engineers?
Yeah,
office
you
there?
are. That's very good.
Well, this one's been a handful. I have to, and I appreciate your openness and the candor, right, bringing this to us each step of the way to keep the public informed.
That's almost been as challenging as the bridge.
Oh, hush. Moving on. Anything else for the engineer? Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
And the Utilities Department resolution authorizing the Lake County Sanitary Engineer to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required for Division Bank Atwater Waterline Replacement Project 446W 2021 in Madison Township.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? Randy, anything you want to add? Because that title pretty much says it all there.
It does, yeah. These are annual applications for OPWC project funding, and this just authorizes me to apply.
Very good.
Next
Thank
two.
you, sir. Okay, if there's nothing else, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing the Lake County Sanitary Engineer to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required for Trunk Sewer Rehabilitation Phase 2 Project 452S in the city of Mentor.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion, Randy, I'll assume same as previous resolution. Very good. If there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing advertising for requests for proposals for Scale House Point of Sale System Upgrade for the Lake County Solid Waste Facility. Open request for proposal on October 13, 2021.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And discussion, Randy, you want to give a little background on this one?
Sure, we're just looking at different ways that we can move traffic across the scale at the solid waste facility a little bit quicker. And we're looking for different options, and that's what this request for proposals will do.
Little bit of a choke point, single point of failure as it stands now?
It can be, if you drive by in the morning, we open at 7, and there's usually a line of anywhere from 10 to 20 trucks wanting to get in and move those quicker. And there's also some other times of the day that we get quite a bit of traffic. So this will hopefully move that traffic through quicker.
And this particular scale also takes care of the commercial as well as residential people coming across that?
Correct, right.
Yeah. Very good. If there's nothing else, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving final estimate number 8, release of retainage in the amount of $11,750.43 with VL Chapman Electric Incorporated and accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $27,718.74 for Lake County Solid Waste Facility Cell C4 Phase 6 Expansion Part B Electrical Relocation Improvement Project 421L for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion, Randy, do you want to give a little background to some sort of technical sounding stuff there?
Sure. Essentially, this is one of the many projects as part of our expansion of the solid waste facility that'll give us another 25 years of space to put solid waste from Lake County, and this is just one of those projects. The electrical, we had to move some electrical facilities there, and this project is now complete, and we're ready to move on to the next step.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anything else for Randy? Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations and transferring cash from Lake County Department of Utilities Project Fund 595 to the Water Operating Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution providing for $990,000 note renewal for the Lake County Department of Utilities Project 408S.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution providing for $2,250,000 note renewal for the Lake County Department of Utilities, Project 336S.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? Mike, did you want to add anything to this? Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. The next resolution was about accepting amounts and rates. This is required by the Ohio Revised Code to be done before October 1st. It goes with the tax budget that was passed by the Commissioners on July 15th of 2021, and it's for 2022. No tax rates have changed from what it was last year. The general fund is still the 1.0 mils. Child welfare is 1.1. Board of Developmental Disabilities is 4.9. AMS board is 1.6, narcotics 0.3, crime lab 0.7, and the senior levy is 0.8. Those remain consistent with what it was last year. The projections are a slight increase in values for all the levies. As ours is inside mills, so it'll go up with the valuation. The other ones are subject to House Bill 920. So.
Very good.
Mr. President?
Sir.
And just to clarify, the reason why you say there's a slight increase because of the values, you're referring to the triennial revaluation by the Auditor's Office, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And just to be clear, that's only really impacting inside millage. The outside is usually a dollar amount associated with it, and that's where that whole rollback. And
That's a House Bill 920 that was affected, and that's effective. It basically updates the effective rates every year to get the same consistent amount. There will always be some new construction that also increases the estimated revenues, but that's never a significant portion. So.
Very good. Thank you. If there's
Thank you.
anything else for Mike. Very good. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution to rename the Lake County, Ohio Port and Economic Development Authority, the Lake Development Authority.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion.
Mr. President?
Sir.
I was able to attend the newly renamed Lake Development Authority's announcement meeting at the Red Creek Zappatelli's restaurant, where they announced to their stakeholders and supporters and chambers of commerce that after a very long period of consideration, their board were adopting a new name. Of course, they are the economic development arm of the Lake County Commissioners, and so to officially make the transition, we must take this vote. But we're very grateful for the leadership of the former mayor of Willoughby, Dave Anderson, as our director of the Port Authority. This has been a long time coming to try to have a name that is both functional, reflective of the economic development work they do, but also one that is short enough that people will use it in everyday conversation. So we're excited to newly rechristen our Lake Development Authority as we continue to work with them to increase lakefront access, bring business to Lake County, and connect jobs with job seekers. Our Director of Workforce Development and Lake County Job and Family Services work very closely with the Port Authority, now the Lake Development Authority, and I think that this is going to be the first of many steps as we see a real push from every side of the county to reopen in the strongest possible way and set the foundation economically for Lake to continue to be successful, but really take us to the next level.
Thank you, sir. Patrick?
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm pinch hitting today for Director Anderson, who's out of town. My name is Patrick Mahorsic. I'm the Deputy Director of Planning and Development for the Lake Development Authority. Very quickly, I just wanted to go over and highlight some of the things Commissioner Plechnik talked about, but also just bring it all here to scope of why we went through the name change. The Port Authority, now the Development Authority, was founded in 2007. This was a part of a countywide economic development strategy, and this was formed to have three major functions. The first is to implement the Lake County Coastal Development Plan. This was created by the Lake County Planning Commission back around the same time in 2005. Also to acquire and operate the Lake County Executive Airport from the City of Willoughby. And lastly, but not least, is to act as the economic development arm for this board and the Lake County Commissioners. The reasoning behind the rebrand was the name was the Lake County, Ohio Port and Economic Development Authority. Very, very cumbersome to say, and it really didn't reflect what we did. When we think about ports, I think we a lot of people and residents and citizens thought we were managing a water port, which is not what we do. Our port is the Lake County Executive Airport. So this name, the Lake Development Authority, better reflects what we do. The process was started about a year ago, and the goal was to find a intuitive, attractive, and relevant name to reflect the work that we do. We first started with a new mission statement, which is to accelerate the rising tide of the community prosperity in Lake County, Ohio, through tailored guidance and resources in the areas of financing, partnerships, spaces, transportation, and community to help businesses and our community thrive. With that, we decided to, in the folders you'll see, is commission our new name and logo. And basically we still have the same three main functions, which is to act as the economic development arm of the Lake County Commissioners, as well as implementing our coastal development plan and operating our Lake County Executive Airport, which, you know, we are very close to a lot of great projects here, I think, on the coastal development side that the community will be very happy about, that we're very close to kind of kicking off, and you'll see some of the long-term plans that this board and along with the county stakeholders have been working on. Under Ohio Revised Codes, why we're a port authority still is it gives us the ability to issue sales tax exempt bonds and taxable bonds for large scale projects. This year, the port should be close to issuing almost close to $80,000, $80 million in sales tax exempt bonds for two major construction projects going on, which we're very excited about and is the main core of what we do, along with our ability to buy, sell, and lease private property as a private entity, which again gives us more economic development resources that we can provide to our community. So with that, our tagline is accelerating economic growth. And the goal of that is to continue to work with our communities and help move these projects forward and get them done. So with that, thank you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact myself or Director Anderson. Thank you.
And just a quick comment, though. One of the things that we hear a lot about is bed tax.
Mm-hmm.
The Lake County Port Authority enjoys the benefit of being able to do improvements within, was it 1 mile of
Correct.
the shoreline?
Yeah, so there was, I believe in 2015, the state legislature passed a 2% increase in the Lake County bed tax. With that is held by the Lake County commissioners, and the port operates it, is the project manager of it. And these funds are used to fund development projects within a mile of our shoreline. And it's very important that these fund development projects. It's not for salaries or anything like that. These are true projects that are tangible assets to our community. So that was a good point. Thank you for bringing that up, President Hamercheck. That's something we are beginning to use and look at to help fund a lot of these great projects that we are doing here in Lake County.
Very good. Thank you. Anything else?
Mr. President, just to put a finer point, we are very close to seeing the Lakefront Trail between Fairport Harbor and Painesville Township, which is a partnership of the Lake County Commissioners, the Lake Development Authority, the Metro Parks, And the hope is eventually that we could see lakefront trails all the way across the county. I know there's significant interest from Willoughby on seeing that happen. But this is really the pilot. People have talked for so many years about increasing lakefront access, and we are on the cusp of getting it done with these interagency partnerships. And it's going to be very exciting because those are two of our most visited metro parks. Every year, more people go to the Painesville Township and Fairport metro parks than the entire population of Lake County. And if you combine those two, the traffic you're going to see in that corresponding area is going to be pretty substantial. Too long we've seen people say, if you build it, they will come. That's where all those vacant strip malls come from. If you build it, they will come. No, it turns out it was a great movie, but that's not actually how economic development works. You really need to take the reverse approach. If they're there, people will build for them. And so we need to make Lake County as attractive as possible to bring those dollars, those footsteps, those folks in, and then businesses will pop up along the shoreline. Instead of government trying to clumsily build something, we need to create the attraction, and then the businesses will come.
Yeah. Thank you.
And just to amplify that just a little bit, a commercial for our metro parks and the Port Authority, once all this trail front gets stitched together, it will be the longest true lakefront trail, not only in the state of Ohio, but I believe in the Great Lakes.
On Lake Erie, yes.
On Lake Erie, there you go. Okay, thank you. On Lake Erie, and keeping in mind, some places will claim that they have long contiguous, but when you gotta go 3 blocks into the neighborhood, and the trail goes past the old oak tree, the old Jones barn, and you can't even see the lake from when you go so far inland. This is truly unique, and again, a wonderful jewel in the inventory here for Lake County. Anything you want to add to that one? Because I know that one's a near and dear project. You inherited that, but I know you're carrying that torch quite well.
And we are very close. I think we'll be here. We'll be back here talking about some really cool things here. Hopefully in the next couple months, in the next year. So I just want to say thank you again for the leadership of this board to continue to support the Lake Development Authority now, and in their continued support, and looking forward to continue to work with in that partnership of getting these things done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, and with that, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution declaring the intention of Lake County to accept payments for county expenses by financial transaction devices, and designated the Lake County Treasurer as the administrative agent to solicit and receive proposals for financial transaction device services, and to make recommendations on the proposals to the board. Proposal opening October 13, 2021.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? Now, this is the part where I say none being heard, and then I have our new treasurer just stand there and say, come on up, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners. I would just like to say that I am honored to accept...
Introduce yourself. Come on, the new treasurer.
Mike Zurin, Lake County Treasurer. And thank you, Commissioners, for... I would just like to say I'm honored to accept the Commissioner's appointment as a financial transaction device agent to solicit proposals and receive recommendations to be used by numerous departments in Lake County. I would also like to say that I'm very grateful for all the work that has been done. I'd like to thank Faith Andrews from the Clerk of Courts. I've seen all the hard work she has put into this over the last 6 months, well before I was appointed treasurer. Also, Probate Court, Juvenile Court, Becky Lynch from the Recorder's Office, Dave Stricko from the County Building Department, and the Commissioners, all the hard work that has been done before I took office, and I greatly appreciate it. I know this project will be of great benefit to the residents of Lake County, and I am thankful for the honor.
Indeed, and if I may look to legal while you're here, Mike, to your credit, I know you untangled in an incredibly diplomatic and effective way some challenges that were found in our Clerk of Court's office. Could you maybe add a little bit of history to what has brought us to this point here today?
Thank you, Commissioner. Basically, we have done this twice so far in Lake County's history, The statute went into effect in 1999. Anyone who was accepting credit cards prior to that could continue to do so, but if they made changes or changed vendors, then you would need to go out to bid. A prior board had put us into an exclusive agreement, which they thought would be the benefit of Lake County in practice and with different softwares and the market trending in different ways. Most of the vendors wish to do the financial transaction devices themselves, which brought us to this point, and we have, there's been a lot of work by Faith and Becky and Mr. Zern's office. It's been a true team effort here with all the departments to get this ready for you today.
And maybe you can shed a little light on this. Some of the statutory language is arcane, to say the least.
Yes, sir. It requires a financial transaction device provider to be bid. It does not contain any of currently the statute does not contain any of the provisions from 30786, which give exclusions for proprietary or sole source exemptions. I know Faith has been successful to start the lobbying to have this change, because that is where the conundrums come in for the county. As softwares evolve or change, they aren't going to play with other softwares. They want it solely for themselves, and they're designing their software in that manner. The statute, for lack of a better term, is not keeping up with the technology of the day.
And this is one reason why our treasurer is here with us today, because statutorily we have to work closely with our treasurer. But our clerk of courts, Faith Andrews, she had found a couple of irregularities. I believe the word breach of contract was there on at least 2 cases. But again, to your credit, you worked with those vendors and secured waivers.
Yes,
I
sir.
remember. So there's no financial exposure looking back, but looking forward, we've got to get this right.
Yes, sir. And we've made sure that all the bidding documents, before the resolution came to this board, we have all the bidding documents ready.
And Clerk Andrews, I believe, most recently at her Clerks Association meeting, secured the support of her association to look forward. And okay, now here's where I pat you on the back a little bit. Michael Matus, right? Mike DeLeon, we have a little bit of fun, folks, if you're wondering, the nameplates with everybody shifting spots. Mike DeLeon, you are, I believe, authoring some of this language, a white paper, possibly some suggested language that's being forwarded to our legislative bodies.
Yes, sir. In fact, the draft is already done. It's into my chief's hands to review before it goes out. The actual proposed language has already gone out. They wanted a brief synopsis of the history and the reasons and where the language was drawn from. 2 exemptions were drawn directly from 30786, with just changing the words services or goods to financial transaction devices. The rest of the language remains unchanged. And then incorporating the alternative measures from Chapter 124 was the 3rd recommended change. So if the state pre-bids or another entity that Lake County is a member of pre-bids, there should be no reason why that shouldn't be sufficient.
And again, to your credit, although previous authors could not contemplate where technology was going, you've made an exhaustive effort to make sure that in the future, if other technologies appear, you've suggested some language that should encompass that?
Yes, sir. It's more forward-looking now to allow for the changes of the industry and allow for bids that have already taken place, or for proprietary software, which seems to be the trend of the industry currently. If that trend should reverse, it still would give effect to bidding and soliciting at least 3 proposals, so it would work in both instances now.
Very good. And we do have Clerk of Courts Faith Andrews in the audience. Is there anything you'd like to add to this discussion? Are you satisfied that we've kind of captured the whole thing? You're more than welcome to. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Mike,
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $1,251,403.35.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $548,897.17.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Moving on to departmental reports. Utilities. Randy.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have our hazardous waste collection this Saturday at the fairgrounds from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock. It's a free event. It'll be our final special collection for 2021.
And, I know we hear a great deal about the cost of such events, but the value that's being delivered to the community, you would agree that value offsets the cost that your agency is incurring, at least at this time.
Absolutely, yeah. These events keep these kind of materials not only out of the landfill, but also out of the storm sewer, out of the sanitary sewer, and provides a place to safely dispose of these materials and then get recycled also.
Very good. Thank you, sir. If there's nothing further.
Mr. President?
Sir.
I have two questions for Mr. Roethlisberger. First, I've gotten some resident phone calls in response to the special collections, and they've noted that we only have one collection for tires. Is that correct?
This year we had one collection, correct?
Is there any possibility that we might be able to expand those? I've been hearing folks say that they really value the opportunity to drop off tires, but given that there was only one special collection for it, it was difficult. So maybe that's something we could look to expanding in the future.
Absolutely. Take
So
a look at that.
the second question that I wanted to raise is in looking at the next couple years of rate schedules for the Department of Utilities, and what residents should know is that it is a fee-based department, whereas many of our departments operate off the general fund. The Department of Utilities has as its goal to essentially be a break-even department where those who use their services in the form of water and sewer and the landfill effectively pay for those services so that it doesn't burden taxpayers beyond their consumption or their use. And so as the department always reviews its fee schedule to make sure that that's the case, Director Roethlisberger and I were looking at the Ohio Revised Code along with our Assistant Chief Civil Prosecutor Dave Hackman, and we see that we actually have the authority under the ORC to give a discount in water sewer fees to seniors. And in the past, the county did offer such a discount based on who was eligible for the homestead exemption. But when the homestead exemption went away from a need-based credit to property taxes to simply an age-based, that's when the Department of Utilities eliminated that discount. So we have offered a senior discount in the past on the basis of need, but years ago that was eliminated. And what I had asked Mr. Roethlisberger is to investigate what other counties are doing, what senior discounts have been granted, because I feel passionately that as we are looking at seniors who are effectively being charged or taxed or feed out of their homes, that we take that into account, not just with respect to property taxes, but with respect to all of the fees that are charged by government. And I believe that we should have a senior discount with our water sewer bills. Of course, we need to review in the context of the whole fee schedule, what can we afford, what's appropriate, what are other counties doing? And I know that that's always the difficult balance, but I do believe we should have a senior discount for our water sewer bill. And I would like to ask our director, what's your research shown thus far as to what our neighboring counties are doing, so that we can have a sense of what we might be able to do to alleviate the burden for our seniors.
Absolutely, yeah. We have been taking a look at that, and we're going to have a proposal to you very shortly. Generally, we've looked at the larger counties around the state. Most do offer some kind of senior discount with an income qualifier. Typically, it's based on the homestead exemption. If they qualify for that, which, as you had stated, was changed in about 2007, I think, to eliminate the income portion, but then was changed back, and some time after that there is an income requirement now. So we'll be able to follow that as a guideline for lower income seniors to qualify for a discount. Most communities are about 20% discount for that, which is significant, and somewhere around that will be our proposal coming shortly.
Well, I thank you for your hard work on this, and I think it's important that the county commission look to this issue soon, because everything is going up. Inflation, taxes, and we need to provide relief to our seniors wherever possible, particularly those most in need.
Very good. Anything else? Thank you. Okay, moving on to Job and Family Services. Suzanne.
Good morning, Commissioners. No report today out of Job and Family Services. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, County Administrator Jason Boyd.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just briefly, I know Patrick had to leave from the port, but I want to echo his comments on the proximity of success as it relates to the lakefront up in Fairport, Painesville Township Park. To put some context to just numbers, Commissioner Pleshik had noted the amount of folks is greater than the county population of 232,000. I mean, it's greatly higher. At Headlands Beach State Park, depending on the year and the season here in Lake County, as we know, is really Memorial Day to Labor Day-ish. We have a very short recreational season. We're getting, depending on the ODNR data, north of 2 million people just at Headlands Beach State Park. Across the mouth of the Grand, at Fairport Beach, speaking with Director Palagi, Paul, and Vince Urbanski from the parks, nearing 300,000 people in Fairport. And that's Memorial Day predominantly to Labor Day. Just down the stretch to the east at Painesville Township Park, the new pier, I believe the number is just below $2 million of the investment, great investment by the Metro Parks. I think it was 2019, or I can't remember 50,000 people, Painesville Township Park. You got to make your way to Painesville Township Park. It's not on the way to anything, but that amenity is bringing people to the lakefront. The parks were very wise, always are, in their planning. The trailhead terminates at a property line where the county, the development authority, and the parks are close to putting a deal together to have a 2.2 mile lakefront trail. So I want to, just emphasize the importance of that. Those 3 million people that are going to Headlands, they're going to make their way to Fairport, they're going to shop, they're going to dine, and then they're going to hop on that trail, and they're going to bird, and they're going to do whatever they do, and they're going to go fish at the pier, and then they got to come back, right? And they're going to get ice cream again. So I've been in the weeds on this project since 2002, and people told me it's going to take a long, and it has, but we're really, really close, and we're working on with some of the ARPA funds to help with the public-private partnership that we're working on. So I just wanted to emphasize how close we are, and it's been a true team effort, and hopefully we can start to see some fruits of this effort here in the next year or so. So that's my speech about the lakefront. Really why I came up, I'm going to a summit next Wednesday in Columbus on ARPA. I hope to learn more. It's sponsored by CCAO. Once again, no final guidance. I feel like a broken record telling you guys this, but hope to learn a little bit more about eligibility next Wednesday. I'll be down there all day, so thank you.
And if I could, just again, as long as I'm handing out compliments here, 2002, you were a member of the Planning Commission. So when you say you've been in the weeds, you're not exaggerating. You literally have been in the weeds.
Yeah, I've been to countless council meetings, zoning meetings, chambers, rotaries, when we were promoting the value of the 30 miles of lakefront we have here in Lake County. And my trivia always was, or it continues to be this day, how many lakefront, keyword lakefront restaurants do we have along 30 miles? The answer is 1. It's just crazy. Now you can get a couple more up the river corridors down East Lake and with Pickle Bill's and Brennan's, but we have 30 miles of Great Lakes asset, and we have one opportunity for people to go spend money on the lake. 70% of the people do not care about getting in the lake, boating. They just want to be by the lake. So we have to continue to create those opportunities, and we're getting darn close. So thanks.
Excellent. Well said.
Just one.
Anything for our administrator?
The next time you speak on this issue, Jason, it'd be great if you could bring your sketches with you. How
Yeah.
far back do those things go?
20
You've got sketches of
two-
the lakefront with restaurants and
2005 is when the planning
2005,
commission,
yeah.
you know, and, you know, it was a $90,000 project that the county sponsored, in part. We did a third, in the way we should do things. The county paid a third, nonprofit sector paid a third, and the private sector paid $30,000 to do a lakefront study because they understood the value of quality of life components and businesses. It was spoken about. It was, I think, a couple of the commissioners were at the Lake Development Council breakfast a couple days ago. Gretchen Skoke DeSanto from Lakeland and the Metro Park spoke about economic development in the realm of natural resources and amenities and quality of life. We talk about roads, bridges, and sewers, extremely important. Rail, extremely important. But companies looking to relocate or stay in the community are looking at what amenities will my employees enjoy. And you've got your school, so and with the lake and the rivers that we have are critically important, and we're finally getting to the point, and the bed tax is going to help us tremendously. That user fee for folks who come into Lake County and stay in our hotels, it's strictly dedicated to lakefront improvement projects that you guys in the port collaborate on. So,
Actually, I prefer to think of that as a user tax. As a
Sure.
user fee, I should
yes,
say.
yes,
Leave the word tax out.
duly noted. So, I would love to bring a couple of those slides just to show what the vision was, continues to be, but Fairport's a sleeping giant. It really is.
Mr. President,
Sir.
I would just say it's impossible to overstate how historic this increase to lakefront access will be for Lake County and all of Northeast Ohio. This is quite literally what everyone has been talking about for decades. Why is there only one restaurant? Why is it so hard to see the lake even if I live 5 minutes away? This is addressing that fundamental concern in the highest traffic, most desired areas of our lakefront. And it is the start, hopefully, of really opening up all those miles of lakefront, but just that one step. This is what everyone's been talking about for decades. It is a great achievement between the Metro Parks, the Lake Development Authority, and Lake County, along with the businesses and nonprofits that have been pushing for this for so many years. And we're really going to see it happen in the very near future. I know there's some skepticism because the conversation has been so long and the planning has gone on for so long. It's not been years, it's really been decades. But we're on the cusp of it. It will happen. We'll be standing at that ribbon cutting, and it's just the beginning. Because once people see the access that we can provide, it's going to be a no-brainer to extend that mile after mile after mile. And there will be a lot more than one business and one restaurant on the lake. It's not if you build it, they will come. If people come, the businesses will build it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on. Madam Clerk.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the next regular commissioners meeting is next Thursday, September 30th at 10 a.m.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to legal.
No report, Commissioners.
Okay, well, while we have you here, though, I would like to look back to Resolution 12, item 12. I believe that's important to kind of capture the moment. The Civil Division of the Prosecutor's Office. This shows the value of that department. I realize that the criminal side, it's obvious what the criminal side does. But the Civil Division, I don't want to say you're the unsung heroes, but you are the lawyers for the elected officials. This board, clerk of courts, or county recorder, others. And the work that you're doing is transformative. It has statewide impact. And I think it's worth emphasizing that. I believe it's important to mention our clerk of courts here. She comes, our clerk of courts, Faith Andrews, in her, well, hold on, I'm about to praise you. So before you say it, let me praise you first now. In her first few weeks, actually, in her first year of her first term, she found some significant challenges that could have been incredibly costly to Lake County. you especially, but the Civil Division took her concerns seriously, and there was a lot of, I'm going to call it handshaking, the information flowing back and forth. She's educating you to a problem, you're educating her as to what the laws are, her looking at this as a business expert and saying, bunk, notice how I cleaned that one up. This does not satisfy me. How do we fix this? And then going through that process. Faith Andrews and her team taking it to her association, working with you, being the author of some of this very technical but forward-looking language. That does not happen in other counties. Lake County enjoys an incredible working relationship with our other elected officials. Becky Lynch, our county recorder, in her first year of her first term, made some significant impacts. And again, you especially were a key player in all of that. Your entire team, but you're that reoccurring bright star there every now and again. Not quite the rising star of my colleague here to the right. He's officially serves a little bit of a blast from the past, an event there. But I feel it's very important to bring that out and talk about the importance of the Civil Division and how critical it is to a successful county, but working so well with elected officials. I have to emphasize that. And Madam Clerk, I yield to you.
He has. I mean, you have no ego. You're a true public servant. He saved us millions and millions of dollars. As he mentioned, there was an exclusivity clause in that contract, and when I walked in, we were in breach in both title and legal, and they could have sued us easy and won millions of dollars. And Mr. De Leon here kept that from happening. Additionally, I'm in awe of, the way that you handled yourself in our call the other day, because there was some pushback by one of my fellow clerks because of their prosecutor providing information. Here's where there's a big problem. The title, Citizen Title Portal, this is part of Innovate Ohio. It's getting ready to go online probably in February, and the state is contracted with Gant, which is not one of our approved vendors. And Mr. De Leon is telling me that even if a title, and this is for casual titles, individual to individual, were to be awarded to Lake County, and the person can choose which county they want to do it, it always comes up to the first one. If you're in Lake County, that's what the choice is, but you still have the ability to send it someplace else. But because the state has contracted with somebody that's not one of our approved vendors, I can't accept that title. I can't process that title, and that is causing me to, it's starting to impact my ability to make money for Lake County, and we can't have that. So additionally, ATPS, I think it is ATP, anyway, the state system, I believe that they're looking to contract with a credit card vendor as well. Not sure who, but that is also going to pose a problem for us. A big problem. So not only is this solving a problem for us, it's solving a problem for the entire state and every other clerk in the state of Ohio. So thank you for your efforts. I'm literally about ready to do the happy dance again. I won't do it here. I'll go back there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just to hopefully put a capstone on this, Prosecutor Colson, he is required statutorily to primarily focus on the criminal division because of obvious reasons, but the civil division, I can see the pain in his eyes when he has to redirect attorneys from civil to criminal, because I believe he sees the transformative work that you folks are doing, and it's difficult. We have a lot of responsibilities, and as our clerk just pointed out, that could have been an exposure of several $1 million. That because of your diplomatic and professional handling, and I say you specifically because I've been following this very closely, you just saved us several $1 million. So I think you just paid for yourself for your good portion of your career. So we say thank you for that. Colleagues, you want to heap a little praise here yourselves? Gentlemen?
Mr. President, first of all, in Lake County, we mean it literally when we say faith can move mountains. So we're very grateful to our Clerk of Courts, Faith Andrews, for hitting the ground running and taking the Title Bureau and turning it into not a revenue neutral, but a revenue positive facility by bringing business from outside of Lake County, even outside of Ohio, so that our taxpayers are not only not paying for the Title Bureau, they're actually receiving a net benefit from it. I mean, when's the last time you've heard of a government agency that legitimately turned a profit? Faith Andrews, Clerk Andrews, has the attitude that she should turn money back, and there's no doubt that she takes some inspiration from our Lake County Recorder, Becky Lynch there, who was one of our first department heads to say, no, I have too much money. Once again, it's unheard of. So we have some incredible public servants here, but our president's right. That's only possible, and I'm not at all biased when I say this as a professor at the Cleveland Marshall College of Law at Cleveland State University. It's only possible with sound legal guidance to make sure we stay within the guardrails, we're doing it right, and we're very grateful to our civil division, including attorney Mike DeLeon, who I will say for the record has not 1 but 2 degrees from Cleveland Marshall, so I think I know where he gets it.
Thank you.
I just want to say that, there's nothing in the job description, your job description, there's nothing in mine either that says I have to leave my phone turned on.
Joe Biden's calling you?
I'm so tired of it. He's constantly harassing me. At any rate, you're very perceptive. You have a good eye. At any rate, there's nothing in your job description that demands, or in Faith's, that demands creativity, high energy, application of skills. There's nothing there for that. And you could have done your job, Faith could have done hers, without any of this. This was hard work, what you accomplished here. What Faith accomplished, hard work and creativity and knowledge. It doesn't come overnight, doesn't come automatically. We are blessed in Lake County. And please let me know if I get in your way. So I appreciate what you're doing. We all do. And keep it up. Thank you. If the president calls again, I will have it on silence, trust me.
Forward to voicemail. So, Mike, you may not have come here with a report for us today, but I hope the record will show that this discussion really says thank you to the prosecutor's office, the civil team, and we truly appreciate the working relationship that the prosecutor's office has with the elected officials. And again, it's unique here in the state of Ohio, and we truly appreciate that. So with that, I thank you, and we shall move on to old business. Do we have any old business to come before this board? Any old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. New business? Okay, that was easy. And our second public comment portion. Do we have any? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Commissioner.
Formally releasing the directors.
I'm sorry.
Formally releasing the directors.
If they wish to scoot, anybody who wants to leave, go ahead, but I don't think we're... How about this? If you start to get bored, exit stage whichever.
Mr. President,
as Snagglepuss would say.
Just for context, Commissioner Young, I think, is referring to our new public portion policy, where you saw earlier we limited public portion to 5 minutes for the first, but we have an unlimited public portion for the second. The thought process being that if there's a very lengthy public portion, that our department heads can exit stage left. So I think this is just a reminder that you're welcome to stay if you see something relevant to your work. But if at the same time we have a 3-hour debate that you find to be less than relevant to your work, we'd rather you just get back to it. So use your judgment, but this is kind of our first meeting under the new rules. But I'm looking forward to a 5-hour public portion, so I hope that we have some people who are ready to go. Mr. Lima, I'm looking at you.
I am not. I am not encouraging that. What I want to do is just say you are formally released. If you have something to do, obviously, you're very busy, all of you are, and you are formally released at this point.
And I give high praise to our engineer who was the first one out of his seat. You see, that's experience. And Suzanne, the newest director, was the last one out of her seat, so there you go. Let them plow the road, you drive down it. Thank you all. So if there's anyone in the public who wishes to address us in the second public portion, John, come on up. And thank you, Commissioner Young, for pointing that out. But notice how we kept our legal counsel sitting in their seat.
John Music, 45 Coventry Drive, Painesville Township. As you know, and I thank Commissioner Plechnik for thinking of the senior citizens. You know, as we all know, this inflation is, I talk to seniors every day. Every day I talk to them. You know, it's like, for instance, as you know, I go to a lot of meetings at all levels. And the thing about it, my township meeting, I asked this question the other day, and I said, in my mind, police, fire, and roads, as far as the township goes, are the needs, the priorities for the township. And I asked how much of their budget. And I had asked previously, I believe their budget's $10.8 million. And so I was told about 95% of it goes to those three departments. Okay? And the thing about it is, my question of it is that there are things that we have to do for those three entities because those are needs. Now, as far as the county goes, you know, there's wants and there's needs. And there's many seniors out there that are having trouble fulfilling their needs. And it isn't getting better, it's getting worse. And the thing about it is, it's just like, as far as the county goes, you could also add on a water, sewer, garbage, some things that the townships don't do. And the thing about it is, all I'm asking is that you, in the positions that you are in, hopefully we're going to get past this inflation. And Powell from the Federal Reserve Bank had said, 2-3 weeks ago, he said he expects it to get hyperinflation to go through part of 2022. Well, the thing about it is, when you're on a fixed income, and I have not received the numbers yet for the senior population that's 60 and above, according to Council on Aging. And the thing about it is, it was 28.4 for 19. I don't know what it is for 2020 yet. But the thing about it is, there's a lot of people out there hurting. All I'm asking you is to be good steward, and for the next year or so, try to take care of the needs, not necessarily some of the wants out there, because a lot of seniors are in that same boat. They're having trouble fulfilling their needs. So if you, any and all help, would appreciate it, and hopefully we will get past this. And I appreciate it for you to watch the taxpayer dollars for us and spend it wisely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President,
Sir.
once again, for people on a fixed income, inflation is deadly. If you're in a job that's being paid the market rate, it's going to go up with inflation, at least to some extent. It may drag behind it often does, but it will follow. But if you're on a fixed income, emphasis on the word fixed, your expenses go up, your ability to pay does not. And we need to be very mindful that Lake County has a large senior population, and it's very easy to go from a comfortable living situation to something completely untenable as all these costs and expenses continue to rise. And this is largely being driven by the federal government and the enormous amount of spending that has pushed up everything from labor to materials. But even though we can't control inflation, we can control our response to it here locally, and we need to remember those most in need. So I'm grateful that our commission continues to look at these issues. When I first said in 2009 that federal spending was clearly on a path to hyperinflation, many people laughed and said, no, it'll never happen. The United States is the reserve currency of the world with the dollar. We can spend as much as we want. But even Lord John Maynard Keynes, the most famous of the liberal economists, emphasis on the word liberal, said printing money causes inflation. And now the federal government doesn't even bother to print it. They simply debit and credit electronically. They call it quantitative easing, but it's just the modern term for printing money. And you can argue whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I'm very concerned with the excessive federal spending. But even if you view it as a positive, even if you're a liberal like John Maynard Keynes, you have to understand the consequence of this spending is inflation, and that disproportionately impacts our seniors on a fixed income. So everyone needs to be mindful of that going forward.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board? Anyone else wishing to address the board in second public comment? Seeing none, moving on. We do have a request for an executive session, the purpose of which is personnel, collective bargaining. There will be no business to be conducted afterwards. Do we have a motion to adjourn for reasons so stated? So moved.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you. This meeting stands adjourned.